Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Factional Fight Plays Wurm Online. My name's Brian. That's my brother Adam over there. And today we are back at the Labyrinth. You can see that we finished the archery tower. Yay!
Hello everyone,
Welcome to another episode of Factional Fight Plays Wurm Online. My name's Brian. And that's my brother Adam mistake as last week. And we are going to continue working on the Labyrinth. We want to finish the what's called the digging, the terraforming. We have a lot of terraforming to do, and we're definitely excited to get onto that. And Adam, what the heck is that elephant doing there?
it's the elephant in the room.
I guess we have to talk about it, don't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, let's get to it. Alright, so we're back, and Wurm Unlimited. That was a surprise. Where'd that come from? A little bit of a shocker, I say, for people that don't know. And I question, how can you not know this at this point? Rolf announced a new, sort of, new game called Wurm Unlimited, which is basically a single player version of Wurm, sort of, that can also
Sort of.
you can also host your own version of the server and become I don't know, you can aspire to be Rolf yourself and host your own Wurm. And so this is basically what the game is. I was excited to see it on Steam when I announced it. I'll talk about that later. But I don't know, what is your take on this?
Well, it's been sort of a roller coaster of emotions, I guess.
Lost for words.
This,
That's what Adam is.
yeah, I know.
Lost
That's
for
pretty
words.
much what I am. Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
it's
continue.
been a roller coaster, that's for sure.
All right, so before we really delve into what Wurm Unlimited is and what our opinions about it and how we feel about it, let's continue the Labyrinth, because the Labyrinth doesn't get built itself. So what we're going to do, Adam, is we're going to go over to this side, I think, and start digging down.
Right, you need to instruct me here because I'm not exactly clear on where we want to be going with this.
Okay, so Wurm Unlimited or not, we're still here, and we're still playing. And no, we're not going to stop playing. What is that? So let's
Personally, I'm still going to continue playing Wurm Online. And I know like the initial release, like when they initially announced it, I kind of had the same fears that everybody else had about Wurm Unlimited being released. And we'll go through all the ups and downs of what exactly happened, but I think first we should get started to dig. Otherwise, we'll be talking here for the next hour without any work being done.
All right, let's dig it up. Just all of this, I guess.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna dig right here.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so
Wait. One more thing before we start. You see how there's two tiles here to your
Yep.
left?
Yep.
Are we gonna dig that second tile there flat?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna fix that up first.
Yeah, so we there was that video that we saw where you could just flatten. Was it flatten?
Right.
You can just sit here and flatten it down.
Yeah, that was an awesome video. There's a time lapse of a guy doing some crazy terraforming, and
He just digs one point down, like really far, and then flattens one of the tiles next to him to sort of level it, and then keeps digging that one tile and then flattens it, and then keeps digging the one tile and flattens it, and then keeps going until it's gone.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Anyway, so now that we're all set up, digging the labyrinth, creating magic here, Wurm Unlimited, continue.
Why don't we start with what it is exactly? So Rolf announces this Wurm Unlimited, which is essentially a standalone client of the entire game. That is to say, you can take this game, create a server of your own, play it completely single player, or you can host your own server and friends can join your server and you get to set the rules. So it almost seems like you can customize action timers, you can customize skill gain, you can customize whether or not you want the curve, the epic curve or not, probably, all sorts of different things. There's even talks about, like, once this gets going, there's going to be like modding of the client, and people are going to be able to customize it even further, creating their own map dumps, and like, it seems pretty crazy when you think about it. The first thing that came to my mind was the effect that this was going to have on Wurm Online, and my heart sunk while I was reading it, thinking about how devalued everything in Wurm Online is going to become. Not only devalued, I mean to say, like everything in the game carries a value, whether it be a value that you would pay silver for or a value that you would pay real money, euro, for. So my feeling was that everything was going to become devalued, and that was because people would leave Wurm Online to play these private servers, lowering the population and making it like there would be this mass exodus where people are selling out all their stuff, and we've sort of seen a little bit of that going on already. But what's going to end up happening is that, because if the population in Wurm Online remains low, then there's going to be less people buying things, more people selling things, trying to get out of the game, and the value of items in the game is going to go down.
So your concern, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that you believed right off the bat that Wurm Unlimited would make it so people would stop playing Wurm Online, and since less people are playing, less people are buying.
Right. And it's not only about the economy as well, but the lower population makes it so that the game is less enjoyable to play in general. As people move to these private servers, you might find that there's not really much benefit to play on Wurm Online, where there's a subscription fee. You might rather want to just go play on a private server where it's free and you play with, your friends or whatever. I don't know. That's my personal take on it.
Has that opinion changed since then?
A little bit.
Okay, so we'll talk about after, I guess, my take on it
right.
Initially. So I first heard about it. When I first heard about it, I was at work. And since September, I started working a new job. And I'm basically doing that, focusing on this job. I'm gone out of the house a lot these days. In fact, I just had to work all weekend and I haven't had a break since 2 weeks ago. Anyway, but besides that, so in the middle of this, I hear about Wurm Unlimited. And I didn't have a lot of time to focus on what it was. All I heard was these things. Wurm going onto Steam. And I thought, this is so cool. Like, Wurm is finally going to Steam. And they're calling it Wurm Unlimited. I don't know why they're changing the name. I don't know. They're changing the name just maybe like how EverQuest or EverQuest 2 changed their names a little bit when they went to Steam and became free to play and like all this stuff. And that was my take at that point before I realized that it wasn't Wurm going to Steam. It was a different game that is the same game, but single player. And it's going to have like... And I thought about it a bit, and there was one post a long time ago that I remember. Where are we here? Bear. And hello everyone in the chat. You guys haven't missed that much. We're talking a little bit about Wurm Unlimited today and what this means to us. How many people play these days? You probably know better than me.
So, I don't know exactly now. I know that there was a post right before the Wurm Unlimited announcement, and there was like just under 5,000 premium subs, which doesn't mean 5,000 players. It means 5,000 subscriptions. So, personally, I have 3 characters that I play, and each one would count towards that count, that 5,000. So I'd probably estimate 2,000 to 3,000 individuals subscribed. Yeah,
I'd say more like 3, probably.
Yeah, and that also doesn't include freemium players who play. And I know there's a few of those. So
yeah. So anyway, back to the story. So after I learned about Wurm Unlimited and all that stuff, it led me to my thoughts went to a forum post that I read maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where somebody was saying, "God, I love Wurm Online, but I don't have time to play it. I don't have time to keep up with like my deed," and like he's basically saying, please, I wish that you would release something, where we could have private servers. And
right.
And then just post after post after that of people saying, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. It's like, go away, single player dude.
Yeah, that request.
That was
that
like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it has come up again and again since we started playing. I've heard that request so many times. And now it seems like it's gonna happen. So
okay,
yeah.
So then that led me to think about your journey, and there was a time where you were looking at games, just looking around at different games that were out there, and you got to a game called What was that game called?
7 Days to Die.
7 Days to Die. Game that you thought had Wurm-like elements in it. It's on Steam, and it's one of many games that is sort of like what Wurm Unlimited will become. Am I right?
Sort of, yeah.
Servers, sort of like, and the ability to go and just play. Or play single player, or play like all the stuff that Wurm Unlimited is going to become. And you were there, and you're like, okay, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to see what it's like. It seems like stuff that I like, the features that I like. But the problem was, it didn't have its own official servers.
Official servers, yeah.
And you didn't like the fact that it didn't, like, you needed that in order for it to be, a multiplayer game for you, a massive multiplayer game for you.
Yeah.
And we both felt like that.
there was definitely something missing from being on even a private server or just playing single player in a sandbox game. There was something missing. Like the same thing with Minecraft. Like played that for a little while. I tried out a bunch of different servers, and it was the same kind of thing where it's like once I realized, wait, my stuff is gonna all reset every 3 months, or whenever there's an update, the entire server resets, or currency really didn't hold any value, and that sort of thing didn't hold my appeal for very long. I'd play for a little bit and then just get bored. There wasn't longevity in that. So, yeah.
Yeah, people like the stability of official servers, and that's a type of player. So there's two kinds of players here. I mean, there's more kinds of players, but in this instance, there are the people that want the massive multiplayer game. They don't want what Wurm Unlimited is offering.
Mm-hmm.
Then they want what Wurm Online is offering. And then there's players that don't want what Wurm Online is offering. And they want what all those other games are offering, like the 7 Days to Die, 7 Minecraft, all those kind of games. And that's what Wurm Unlimited is trying to tap into. There's two different kinds of player bases. And then after I thought about that, I thought, okay, we know that Wurm already, or I should be more specific now, Wurm Online is not a game for everyone. And we talk about this a lot. Even if it's a game that you really enjoy and you get to the point where you're playing and you start a deed and you level up a skill or something, and then you build your house, and then you always ask yourself, like, now what? Well, that's because Wurm Online is a social game.
Partially, yeah.
What keeps you going are the people that you come back to, or the ever-changing environment that you come back to. And it's what people like about it. It's what people like about it that stay playing for years. Right? Because every game gets stale at some point, right? It doesn't matter what game it is. You feel that it gets stale after a while. Those people that are going to play Wurm Unlimited will feel like it gets stale after a while. For those of us that play Wurm Online, the thing that allows us to play for so long is the ever-changing social aspect and the ever-changing, evolving places that we go to, or places that we build, and the people that we do it with. Without anybody there for us as Wurm Online players, the game would get stale quite quickly. And that doesn't work for everybody, because there's people that are saying, I do not have the time to play this game, even though it's what I want in a game.
I even would bet that those same people who are saying that won't stay in Wurm Unlimited for very long, at least in the single player. They would probably end up finding some server that that they can join and play casually. I think that for that player, the real problem with Wurm Online is the subscription fee, because maybe they are only able to get on once a week.
Yeah, maybe.
And a subscription fee of €8 a month, or whatever, €16 every 2 months, that is too steep, considering they're only going to get on like 4 times a month. But I don't know. I'm only just speculating. There's a couple things that are kind of interesting about this Wurm Unlimited that I'm interested about. Like one, for example, you're able to grant yourself GM abilities. That's something I'd be interested in checking out.
Well, I sort of had GM abilities on the test server for a little while.
Yeah, but who does it? Like, isn't that what you get on the test server? You get to spawn in whatever you want.
I think there is a thing on the test server that everybody gets. That gets to spawn a bunch of stuff, which is sort of like GM powers, but not quite. It's true. So here, I can't feel a thing. Okay, so you like super deep crafting games, but you're saying you never got into Wurm, or you never really played it. I don't know. So, anyway, to finish the story, all I was saying is, personally, I knew that us as players, we didn't want what Wurm Unlimited was offering. And if we as players didn't want what Wurm Online or Wurm Unlimited is offering, there's bound to be other people like that don't want what Wurm Unlimited is offering. And then I also knew that there's players that don't want what Wurm Online is offering. There's quite a few of those, but still want what Wurm represents, the features of it.
The staggering number that I felt when Rolf first announced it was that, there's about 5,000 people who subscribe to the game, or 5,000 subscribed characters, out of hundreds of thousands of people who have tried it. And the fact that hundreds of thousands of people have tried the game, tried the freemium, but never actually subscribed, or subscribed for only a short time and then quit shortly after, that's a huge number. I think that he's hoping that if a small percentage of those hundreds of thousands of people who left the game purchase Wurm Unlimited, start their own servers, get their friends to play, that would go a long way to financially boost the game, and bring it to into its next era, I guess.
And it's possible. A couple things have come to light since he made the announcement. One, the development of one means the development of the other one. Right? So it's the same development, essentially, is what he said. So any benefit benefits both.
Right.
Any development will benefit both.
My hope is that it's gonna go to Wurm Online first. Like, he'll develop Wurm Online, and then he'll say, "Hey, this is working in Wurm Online. Let's put it into the Wurm Unlimited." Sort of. That's my hope, that would be the direction. But who knows?
It sounded like they're both going to just update together, but it could. I mean, who knows? Who knows, really? So happy. You're saying you might use Wurm Unlimited as a D planner.
That's interesting.
And nothing else. That's interesting, although I think the free deed planner is probably what I would use to plan my deed. Especially with this whole thing about exporting your deed right into deed planner. Can't wait for that feature. I want to really check that out.
And Warlander is working really hard on getting those bridges in there. I've seen some screenshots there, so it looks promising. The progress on that.
Using Wurm Unlimited to keep on top of dragon penning techniques. There you go. That's actually quite clever. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I heard that the dragon penning got like a little bit messed up when they allowed dragons to destroy or get out of caves through mine doors. I wonder if
using caves as a
because there was some, I guess, unintended situation where if you put or led a unique into a cave and put a mine door on top of it, that they weren't able to get out of that situation. So
wow,
curious to know how that change is affecting it.
And I think Wurm Unlimited will be used as a beta tester for Wurm Online. That's an interesting concept, actually, to think about. Right now, Wurm Online has a hard time, or the devs have a hard time to test all of their stuff. They have only a few people that are actually willing to test properly. That by the time they either have to just test forever, infinitely, to try to find all the bugs, or at some point say, it would be a lot faster if we just release this feature, find the bug, let the player base find the bugs, and then we'll fix it within a week or something. Or else they'll be spending months trying to find them. But using Wurm Unlimited as a especially if the player base is large, who knows? Maybe if that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's a good thing for us Wurm Online players.
And you know how Minecraft, every time that an update gets released, that everybody all the private servers that want to update to this new update has to wipe the server and start from scratch again? You know how that happens? Or at least that's my experience. I don't know. I'm not like a Minecraft guru or anything, but that's how I feel. You
never know, because it's
is that what's gonna happen with Wurm Online though? Every time a new update comes out, they're gonna have to start the server from scratch again?
You never know.
You never know. Okay.
I don't think anybody knows at this point.
Right.
But that's a concern. I mean, it's just a concern in general. Private servers come and go. Who's going to stay on a private? The thing about Wurm is that it's not like those other games. People,
right,
as far as the way that we play it right now, in PvE and especially in PvP, if you build stuff, you want it to stay there forever. If you're building your kingdom on PvP, you don't want to have to continuously start over to rebuild your kingdom, to rebuild all those dirt walls, the big structures, the man hours that it takes. Even if you cut the man hours in a third, if you sped up the process on a private server, it still takes a long time. It would essentially probably kill the way PvP is played.
Right.
You have to build smaller, isolated things. I don't know. So, will Wurm Unlimited kill Wurm Online?
I've seen these crazy doomsday posts on the forums talking about how this is going to kill Wurm Online. Sell all your tunes and get out while you can because this game is going down, is what they say.
Okay, so to me, my question would be, why is Wurm going down?
Right. They're expecting that there's going to be a mass exodus from the game while everybody goes to private servers that are going to be way better, and we can make the server exactly how we want. None of this everybody will get what they want on whatever server that there will be a server for them. That's their argument. So why would anybody pay the $8 subscription fee to Wurm Online when they can get exactly what they want on a private server for free?
Okay, so with that, let's say that's the way that people actually believe. People believe that everyone's going to leave and get exactly what they want on a private server. So then the question is, why are we playing Wurm? What are the things that we're getting in Wurm that makes us stay in Wurm? So let's try to list them here. Okay, what do we want? What makes you continue to play Wurm?
Aside from all of the stuff that everybody always says, like the freedom and the crafting and the whatever, the immersion.
Mm-hmm.
I think the number one thing that keeps me in is the social aspect, and specifically the economy, like player-driven economy social aspect.
Okay,
and I personally don't feel that the economy that we see in Wurm Online is going to be replicated on any of the private servers. That's just my feeling.
That's true. I mean, it would be very tough for a private server, especially if the server's going to keep resetting, and that you have an individual or individuals that control the money situation They can basically respawn your money, like anytime,
Right?
or create money.
Exactly. This is the problem with the private server that I don't think people are realizing, is that the host or the person who's running the server controls everything, and they can choose to do whatever they want. And while you might say the same thing about Wurm Online, that there is a single person, Rolf, who controls everything, you have to admit that for the most part, he's pretty fair about pretty well anything. He is perfectly okay with people making money off of the game by selling their stuff. And I don't believe that that's going to be found in another private server, or at least to the extent that it is in Wurm Online.
No matter how much Rolf does to Wurm Online, there's one thing he doesn't screw with, and that's the in-game economy. He just doesn't screw with it. He stays away. If at all he like fringes on changes, just sort of touches it, he just will. And if people complain enough, he will like set it back. He will not touch it. He's very like knows when the economy is sort of doing something that shouldn't be done. He has all these tools and graphs and stuff that calculate all that stuff that allows him to tell what's going on. But let's go back to this. Okay, you play for the economy. You play for the social aspect of this game. And something that we touched on before, you play because it's the official server, so therefore you know that everything that you do will always be there. There's a set of rules that will never change. The servers will never reset. You'll never reset and then back to like factory settings or whatever you want to call it, and lose all of your progress. You have that stability in knowing that. So if this is what you want out of an MMO, what are the chances people will leave this game in hopes to find that exact same thing on a private server?
I think that many people are going to be looking at Wurm Unlimited and looking for private servers that are there to do what Wurm Online does. So the question is, what are the chances that we're going to actually find that? And I think they're going to be very slim to pretty much none. Because no matter how much a person wants their server to be completely stable, we've seen how hard it is for Wurm Online itself to continue, a stable server. Like server backups happen once a day, and they probably pay way more than any of the private servers are going to pay to keep the servers up and running. I think that one benefit of Wurm Online is going to remain, and that is the stability of the servers. That what you create today is going to remain in the game for years to come. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be replicated on a private server.
All right, so this is actually a much older dilemma than I think a lot of people realize. And this is something that we came across a very long time ago. We used to play EverQuest, right? We played EverQuest quite a lot when we were younger, back in its heyday or whatever. We played it for a number of years, maybe like 6 or 7 years. And there was a time during that where we heard that there were private servers. Maybe in the early 2000s. And we're like, oh, you don't have to pay, and you just set it up, the client like this, and then you can just join the server. And we thought, this is like really cool. We can essentially play EverQuest for free. Back then, EverQuest was probably $10 a month or something like that.
Or $12 a month or something.
$12 a month. And what we learned was that even though you're playing the same game and you're essentially have all of the same, you have your avatar and you get to go to all the same zones and you get to kill all the same monsters and you get to play with other people, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. We didn't stay there because we realized that it wasn't the monsters and the zones, the graphics or whatever, wasn't why we played EverQuest at all. And as enticing as it is and we fell for it right off the bat. We went right for it, and we thought, I remember feeling like this is it. This is like we are going to be able to play EverQuest for free. It's not the same experience, even though it's the exact same game, even though it's everything.
And there were even servers that allowed you to spawn whatever item that you wanted, and you could start your guy at whatever level that you wanted. And we did all that. We played the God mode version of EverQuest, and we were able to take on the biggest mobs in the entire game just solo, and that was like fun for the whole 3 hours that it lasted. And then once we realized that there was no challenge, there was no social aspect of the game, there was everything that we loved about EverQuest was not in this version of it. And once we went past the experimentation point, it was just like an empty, hollow shell of a game. And I remember going back to EverQuest after that and feeling how empty that felt too, because I've already experienced the end game sort of thing. I've already experienced what it's like to have the top gear and to run around and just kill whatever I wanted to kill. And I think that was part of the thing that killed the game for me in general. Like, we had been playing for quite a while, and then we did that, and it was just like, all right, well, we just now did everything that we wanted to do in this game, and why continue playing it, pretty much. So I have a fear that might happen with this if I ever were to try Wurm Unlimited and do the God mode thing and play for a few hours there. I fear that coming back to this Wurm Online would sort of ruin the experience for me.
I thought about that too. Let me get my head around that. The difference is that EverQuest was a game focused on dungeons.
And
therefore, half of the fun is to get to that end of the dungeon. Wurm doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, I see. It's true.
The only thing comparable that Wurm has are dragons. But even killing the dragon isn't even the most exciting part, or the only exciting part. It's the crafting that you use for the dragon hides that you get is what keeps you going. It's the drake armor and the dragon skill armor.
It's true.
It's the real goal.
Yeah.
So I don't fear that would happen to somebody. What I do feel like is that people will probably get their fill on building whatever big structure that they can't build in the game, or dig something crazy, or kill dragons or whatever. And then the people that wanted an MMO experience will end up back in Wurm Online. The people that are looking for that social experience will end up back here, or they stop playing. And the people that have stopped playing, or the people that would have stopped playing anyway, despite Wurm Unlimited. The people right away, and we'll get to the questions. I can see the questions piling up. We'll get to them. The people that, right away, Wurm Unlimited was announced, and you got those people that are saying, I'm quitting, this is the end for me. Those are the people that were already on the brink, that were already questioning, what is there left for me to do in this game? Why I keep coming back and farming and, I don't know, doing my chores every day. Just give me a reason to leave. Oh, there's the reason to leave. Okay, bye, everybody.
I know. And I felt the exact same way. Like, I'm reading some of these posts, and there's like really big haters out there of this Wurm Unlimited. It's like, it's kind of sickening. And I'm just thinking to myself, from what perspective are you drawing these conclusions that you have? Because really, my feeling is that they're just bitter old players who are just done with the game. They've probably quit a bunch of times before and come back and quit again, and the game has just not done it for them. They like the concept of the game, but they're just done. And you're right, it's just an excuse to, and I hate it because it's really it's a negative, the negative energy that they pour out onto the forums and into the game is really affecting people. You know, there's people who are just starting the game, just discovered it and are loving it, and they've been playing for months maybe, and they're just right into the game, love it so much. And it's sort of disheartening to hear these veteran players go on and on about how the game is coming to an end and that everything is going to be like done. And I don't believe that to be true at all, because I know for a fact that I'm going to still be here. You're going to still be here, and a whole bunch of other people that I know are still going to be here, and we're all going to continue playing Wurm Online regardless of this Wurm Unlimited. Maybe we'll try it, but in our hearts we know that this is Wurm Online is the place that we want to be. And that's, I feel like this is a good time to bring this up. I read this post and I love the way that the person put it. I'm going to read it to you. It's just so short and sweet. Whether Wurm Unlimited is a good or bad thing, it's in every player's interest to find the positives and find a way to help make it work. Unless you want it to fail, in which case, don't waste your time. Go, leave, and find another game now. And I think that that's the message that I want to give to everybody who's spewing this negative stuff on the forums and into the game, because if Wurm Unlimited is what it is that's going to make you leave this game, then leave. Just get out of here. And maybe you want to go on Wurm Unlimited and play on your private server, and great. In fact, I encourage you to leave Wurm Online and go play at Wurm Unlimited if that's what you want. It will still support the game that I love. It will still pour money into the development, and it will still help the game grow. And so that's how I feel about it. Just stop with the negative, sentiment about how Wurm Online is going to be destroyed, because it's not. The players who are going to stay here are going to stay here for good, and new players are hopefully going to join because of Wurm Unlimited, and it's going to grow the online version of the game. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Let's get to some of the questions before I can't see them anymore. What's your take on Rolf hoping to use the mod packs that will be made by the community of Wurm Unlimited and maybe implementing some of them into Wurm Online? What do you think about that?
Mod packs. I'm interested to see. To see because
So
people
you like that idea.
Yeah. I mean, if some creative genius comes out with a mod pack that makes a private server like super awesome, fun, and enjoyable, and adds to the game, and maybe Rolf will see this and say, hey, if we added that to the official game, it would make the game way better.
And just so you know, this would not be the first game that did something like that. EverQuest 2, I think, or maybe EverQuest 1, did something like that. They even had tools for people to create stuff, for community to create stuff, and they would add it to the real game. Uh, EverQuest Landmark, that's just a big beta thing for them to use community-built places and then eventually add it to whatever they're going to make EverQuest Next or whatever they're going to call it. So it's not the first place to do that. I'm sure there's other examples as well. I like that idea as well. If Rolf can get, I don't know, so a nice, I don't know, graphics packs or something for free, it benefits everybody. I mean, the players that made them love the exposure that they get, and the players that play will love the fact that we get upgraded graphics or whatever the mod pack will be, maybe a feature or whatever. So it's a win-win, basically. And Rolf gets to make sure that only, stuff that people would enjoy in the real game would like as well. Like, he's not just going to add junk. So let's see. Let's see if there's any other question. What do you think about modding of Wurm Unlimited? Do you think that some exploits will sneak from Wurm Unlimited to Wurm Online? Some exploits. What do you get by that?
I know this was like one of the first things that was mentioned by the community, and it was about like how once you let the single player version come out, like whole client or whatever, people can pick it apart and see if they can find exploits that they can apply to Wurm Online to either make money or whatever it might be. It is pretty serious concern.
There's already exploits in this game that people don't know about. All that's going to happen is the exploits are going to be found faster and then fixed faster. So instead of like years of these exploits being in the game, they're just going to be, maybe months or maybe less time, depending on how bad the exploit is.
If people are playing the game, like there's like a lot of people playing the private servers, it's true. You have a lot of people vetting.
As long as it's not affecting like the economy, and there's like certain things that Rolf's like it cannot affect these things. These things are what's holding Wurm Online together, and he has all of these tools, administrative tools, that we don't see, that allows him to keep track of these things. So if somebody's starting to like spawn money or like doing something to make crazy rares or something, like unlimited rare, he can see that, he can track these things. And if somebody is exploiting this, they're actually quite easier for him to find. And just a lot of people don't do that right now. And if people started doing that, it would be easy for him to just recognize it and then patch it. And it was just something that'll be faster. Let's see. Any more questions? I wanted to get to sort of our final thoughts. So let's finish answering any questions that you guys have, anything that you want us to talk about, and then we'll get to our final thoughts on this whole Wurm Online, Wurm Unlimited topic here. I love this. No, it can't be over. I just started. It's going to take me a year to find a place to pitch my tent. It'll still be here.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry at all. The game's not going anywhere. Wurm Online's not going anywhere, and stay as long as you want, because my feeling, I truly believe that the Wurm Unlimited is going to overall increase population. Maybe not by much, but we're going to start seeing, and I feel like we've already started seeing the trickle in. Like, sure, the old veterans who are sick of the game are leaving, selling off the characters, etc. But we're seeing people trying the game, even as freemium players already, based off of the fact that Wurm just got posted on Steam. It has already started. We see, if you watching GL Freedom or just Freedom Chat, you'll see the newbies asking their newbie questions, and that's a sign that the game is still thriving. So my hope and my feeling is that the population is going to grow slowly but surely. It's not going to like skyrocket, like, you know, like, but what we're going to start seeing is a slow increase in population. I'd be very interested to see Badu, is it? Badu does these like population graphs. I'd like to see that graph around Christmas time to see how the announcement affected the population, and then slowly how the Wurm Unlimited release affected the population. And I'm expecting to see positive results.
So a few more questions here. How many Rolfs does it take to screw a worm? Fair enough question. And the answer is one Rolf.
What? Yeah.
It takes one Rolf
to
screw a worm. But to be fair, it also takes one Rolf to make Wurm great.
That's true.
Which way will it go? Only time will come.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more questions here.
I want to know how much soul depth Griff's Venora Priest has.
I want to know how much soul depth your Venora Priest has. So how much soul depth does your Venora Priest have? I don't even know.
It's not like super high compared to a lot of other priests. I think channeling is the more important stat, and that's where I pride my priest on. But soul depth, it's about 52 or something like that. Yeah.
52. That's still pretty good for soul depth.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, we were friends with someone who had
70.
pretty amazing
6
priest, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
What else? And where is the damn blue dragon, Adam?
I'm sure that it's going to be rare. It's going to be pretty rare.
He's just
I bet you there's like some algorithm that predicts randomly what unique will spawn next, and that in that algorithm, I'm sure that the blue dragon is extremely rare. But fret not, because if you have one piece of blue dragon scale and a big clump of whatever else, you can just activate the blue dragon scale and combine it with the rest, and it will be one big clump of blue dragon scale.
Ah, that's good to know.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Not bad. So you can create like quite a lot of blue dragon scale right off the bat. If you had a lot of
other colored dragon, yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
Who has a lot of dragon scale lying around?
I saw somebody selling like 8 kilograms of it.
Wow.
I'm not even sure how many kilograms it takes to make a full set. I don't think 8 would be enough to make a full set, though.
I don't think so.
That's my feeling.
Maybe it's close.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, so let's think about this logically, okay? Rolf, out of nowhere, I think this is where a lot of the problem came. Out of the blue, no one was even thinking about this as a possibility, announces something that no one was ever thinking of.
Right.
In their minds. So there, full set, roughly 6K. So you can make a full set.
Less than I thought. That's less than I thought. Okay.
And when something like this happens, where the player base is not informed or kept updated on, or at all, like we didn't know anything about it, people feel it's natural for a human to feel somewhat betrayed. That's like the first instinct is like something bad is happening because I didn't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we all felt initially. It was a surprise that no one realized that a surprise was happening.
Right, or expecting
They weren't
it at all,
expecting a surprise, and here's a surprise. It's like that guy that flips out at his own surprise birthday party. Maybe. I don't know. But then... So that's why you have all these people, and it seems like everyone's hating on it, when it's probably not that many people in relation to how many people play Wurm. So the amount of people hating on it that play Wurm is probably a very small percentage of the people that play Wurm in general. There will always be a vocal minority on the forums or anywhere. It's just the way that it works. People that have nothing to complain about aren't posting anything because they have nothing to complain about. So this is what will happen. The people that are hating on this idea, they will eventually stop hating on it because they will find something else. They'll either leave the game, find something else, or they'll just find something else to complain about. This is just the hot topic right now. So what you'll see happen is people will actually play the game on Steam. People will continue to play the game on Wurm Online. The forum topics on both the Steam community pages and on the official forums of Wurm Online will be less, what do you want to call it, cataclysmic. They will settle down, and people will then more comment on the actual game, especially on the Steam forums. People will comment on the game. Right now you have people that are commenting that they like the idea, and people that are really commenting that they don't like the idea, both on the Steam forums and the Wurm Online official forums. But we'll see. We will definitely have a better understanding, and people will have something to actually talk about once the game is released. This is not the first game to do something like this. And as far as do something that the player base was not even thinking of. And the same thing happened to a lot of games. I'm just going to keep with the theme that I'm going with, and the same exact thing happened with EverQuest 2, where they said, hey, by the way, guys, we're now going to switch to a free-to-play model, and here you go. And they did it before that, where they said they got rid of expansions and decided to do, like, you can buy the game and get, like, every single expansion up to, if you just buy, like, pay whatever flat fee, and then you get the entire game. You don't have to buy all the expansions before that. Imagine if you just bought, like, every single expansion in EverQuest 2 and spent like hundreds of dollars, and then like the next day they announced, by the way, you just have to pay $40 and you get the whole game. Like, oh, I'd be so mad. Anyway, we never know.
With with the decision to go to the Wurm Unlimited, I know that there's a lot of people who feel like this is a cash grab, and to a large degree, I would agree. This is a cash grab. But there's also those people who are saying this is a one-time cash grab, that people are just going to buy it. It'll be like a big boost to the income of the game now, and then over the long term, it will go, like, that won't be true. But I don't think that that's true either, because there's going to be people who don't buy it right away. And there's going to be a lot of people who don't even hear about it right away. And over the next while, you're going to see a trickling in of more and more people buying the Wurm Unlimited. You're going to probably see more people join the Unlimited version compared to the online version over the long run. And so, like just look at how Minecraft worked. And I know Minecraft was like a huge success, like 1 in a billion chance that this is going to happen to Wurm. But even today, they are selling copies. So it's not like a one-time, even though it's a pay once and play forever, it's still making money as time goes on. People are still buying new clients. And so I guess the hope for Wurm Online or Wurm Unlimited is that happens there. People will continue to see it on Steam, continue to keep their eye on it, and eventually one day buy it. And it will cause a completely separate revenue stream for Rolf and the game in general that will add to the revenue stream that is coming in from Wurm Online, providing more funding for development. And I mean, we've seen Rolf pour tons of money into the game, and based on the meager amount that he makes, and I know that people, he makes a ton of money, but in the grand scheme of things, he is not, I wouldn't, he's not a billionaire by any stretch. There's quite a bit of room to grow. So my hope is that we're going to start seeing development ramp up as the income comes in, and that could only be a good thing for the game in the long run.
In the end, I think the one thing you can take from this right now, or the one thing that we would like to convey, is it's okay to just take a breath. There's like breathe in, just hold it for a second, and just breathe out. Things will be okay. Say that one more time. Things will be okay. And where will me and Adam be if you want to find us during this whole Wurm Unlimited thing? We'll be building our labyrinth right on Xanadu in Wurm Online. And with that, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you for joining us this week, guys. We will be in the game continuing the labyrinth as much as we can, and we hope to get it out so that people can enjoy it at some point. Thanks everyone for joining us this week, and thanks everyone for watching on YouTube. We will be back hopefully next week. I don't know, I'll have to see. I at some point need a day off. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, that's our take on Wurm Unlimited. We hope that from that you just realize that doomsday is not coming. And if it is, we'll be on Wurm Online playing while it happens. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll see you guys in Wurm. Take care, everyone.